Welcome, everyone, to Jal Panther Football here 435 miles north of Jal in Raton. And I don't know if you can see it from here, but there definitely some snow in the mountains and all around as well. In fact, it took a little while before them to clear off the field. In fact, they had to have volunteers to come in here. It was deep in, and they got most of it out. Of course, you can still see a little bit from the field or on the field, but it's going to be an interesting game as number 10, your Jal Panthers take on the number 7, Raton Tigers. Yeah, it'll be a tiger fight or a cat fight, and definitely going to be a good one out here as we are about 30 minutes away from kickoff. So wanted to let you know about that, and you're talking about, of course, about pregame, about how each team got here in the record they have, as well as, of course, the next playoff possibility for whichever team does win. So this is Ron Gunter. And this is Jal Panther Football right here in Raton, New Mexico. Just close enough to be Colorado. In fact, if you listen to the radio, sometimes you hear northern or southern Colorado and northern New Mexico put in there somewhere. Be back in just a moment to give you some more details and let you know what's going on right here in Raton. Remember, you're listening to it right here on Jal Panther Sports. Welcome, everyone, to Jal Panther Football. This is Ron Gunter, and here in Raton, New Mexico, as it is the 5-5 Raton Tigers hosting the Jal Panthers, who are 2-8 this season. And both of them have similarities in some ways, but it was just a couple years ago, if you remember correctly. Of course, if you're a Jal fan, you know that Jal was dominating. In fact, it was just 2021, or actually in 2022, when they had a 13-0 record. And were able to get the champs after beating Texaco 41-21. 2021, of course, 10-2, not a bad record either. They had beat Estancia 50-0. Texaco, they beat them again before their championship, of course, 53-12, and then they lost to the Eunice Cardinals in the championship 28-15. So it's a close one right there, but there was a hard-fought one. 2023 last year, Jal lost in the first round of Tularosa by the score of 42-6, and they're hoping to be able to not duplicate those things as far as getting out of the first round. They would like to get into the second round, and of course, we'll find out exactly what that's going to be entailing once we get into this game. But right now, let's go ahead and talk about the Raton Tigers and how they got here. And they started off this season with a win against the Tehachapi Cougars by a score of 41-0. Then they lost to Lamar Thunder. That was a score of 28-14. So didn't do anywhere near what they did in the first game. Third game, Trinidad Miners. That was a big win, 47-30. The Robertson Cardinals came up next, and that was away as well, along with the Trinidad Miners. In fact, the Trinidad Miners are in Colorado, so they play 2 games in Colorado, or they play 2 teams from Colorado anyway, because of their situation, how close they are to Colorado. Robertson Cardinals, they lost to them 49-7. St. Michael's Horsemen also lost to them, and that was here, 40-7. Went to Legacy Academy Silverbacks, lost that one, got blanked, 34-0, and then came back and played Tucumcari Rattlers, and Legacy and Tucumcari are both in the district, so that was district games. 51-24 was the final, and that was a win for Raton over Tucumcari. Capitan Tigers came up next, also in the district, and that was a 27-0 win for these Tigers. Following that, that was the Santa Rosa Lions. They took to the road, and that was a loss, 48-19. Not even close on that one. But Estancia Bears also on the road, so they went to Estancia and were able to beat them 41-18. On the other side of the coin, it is all about the Jal Panthers. In fact, they had just scored 181 points for, but allowed 348 against, and it's really hard or really difficult to win a game with stats like that. First one, though, was Dexter Demons, and they went over there to Dexter and lost that one 58-7, mercy rule ending. Then also went to Santa Rosa, so they also played Santa Rosa Lions. 37-20 was the final, and lost on that one as well. So between the two, it was a smaller loss than Raton had, and that was even early in the season. Then the Panthers faced the Hobbs JV Eagles, and just couldn't quite get it, although they had some really good plays. They just could not capitalize on them. They had a couple of interceptions, but in the end, it was a final of 27-7. Jal losing that one as well. It looked like they were actually going to be doing pretty well. Then they did, though, as far as getting on the winning track. Got to play it at home. Played Van Horn, the Eagles, as well. So Eagles back-to-back. Won that one 55-6. Kind of looked like the old Jal was coming back a little bit on that one. Even played Centennial JV Hawks at home as well, and that was a nice game. They beat them twice in a row at least, and that was a final of 47-28. Took it to Tularosa Wildcats, and that was at home as well. But the first district game did not go as well for Jal, and the start of another losing streak, as it was 35-20 was the final. Tularosa winning over Jal. Then away at Las Cruces, and the JV took on the Panthers, and that was pretty close in the first half, but the second half, Las Cruces did pull away. Final on that one was 32-0. Then Loving went to Loving too, and also not Lovington, but Loving Falcons to be exact. And the final on that one was a closer one, 32-25, so a 7-point difference, but still, nevertheless, the third in a row loss for the Jal Panthers. Then Eunice came into town and pretty much had their way with them, 41-0, as Jal could not get on the board that time, or with Texaco, and that was in Texaco, so it's not hard to believe that that happened, because Texaco is always a tough team to face. At least they were this year anyway. So Eunice was 41-0, and Texaco, the last game of the season, 52-0. That led them to a 2-8 record. And they were able to manage to get into the playoffs just under the wire at 10. And this is not the first time these two teams have met. In fact, this will be the second, but this will be the first time the two have met in the playoffs. They actually played when Raton was in 3A, and Jal, of course, is still in 2A. And that game did not go as well, but wasn't too bad in the first half. It was 7 in the first quarter for Raton and 14 in the second quarter for Raton, while Jal was blanked. So it was 21-0 in the first half. Second half saw just another touchdown for Raton, followed by another touchdown for Jal. Actually, their first touchdown for Jal, but Raton answered back, and the final score was 35-7. But the both those teams back in 2021 had pretty good records. Raton 11-1 and Jal at 10-2. So we're expecting to see some fireworks over here, as we got cooler weathers. In fact, cool weather. In fact, I had to drive through about 10 degrees, and it was funny how it managed to go from no snow to snow all at once, and then I think it was about 7,000 feet up in the air driving over here. So, yeah, definitely got the climate going on. And again, talked about the fact that the field had to be cleared out, and that was done by volunteers and everybody else around here. They worked and worked and worked to make sure that this game was going to be going as scheduled. And, of course, it couldn't be done on Saturday simply because of the snow on the field. And, of course, the road conditions probably weren't any good either. All right, well, we are going to, let's see, it's going to be 20 minutes, maybe 19 minutes. It thinks like they just did the coin flip. Didn't quite get to see who got the call or who's going to receive, who's going to kick, but we'll find out here soon enough. As both teams are warming up, and I don't blame them for that. This cold weather, but luckily the wind is not a factor, it seems to be. As we get to see some cheerleaders from Raton. And we are going to get underway pretty soon. Welcome back to coverage right here on Jal Sports Network. And yes, we're going to make sure we give you from beginning to end on this game. Make sure we cover it just for you. As we do so, I'm going to talk about some of the Raton Tiger standouts, or at least the starters anyway. Yeah, 3-2 was the record for them for district, and the home was 3-2 as well. So not perfect are they at home, but not too bad either. Speaking of which, on the road, it is 0-5 for Jal, so unable to win on the road. Maybe they can break that streak. They still have their, let's see, what was it, 5-game losing streak, I believe. Yes, indeed, and Raton has a 1-game winning streak. So for Raton, I believe their starting quarterback will be, let's see, that's Cannon Walton, who is a senior. He is, let's see, he's got 702 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, so he's prone to intercept. In fact, his quarterback rating is a little low. And he has completed just 61 passes of his 119. Romero is also the other quarterback, the backup quarterback for the Tigers. The junior has a little better percentage, 523, just 10 points more than his senior I was going to say playmate, but that's not right. Teammate. Yes, thank you. 473 yards is what he's got in the air. And this is a running team because we've got 2 Waltons on the team. We've got a Kale and a Canyon. Of course, Kale is a sophomore, and Canyon is a senior, and he has 697 yards rushing, so he's got almost as much yards, just about 5 short, much rushing yards as he does passing yards. He does have 7 touchdowns, actually. 4 are the number that he has 100 yards or more rushing. So he's a good rusher, as well as looks like his brother. No, that's the other one. That's, let's see, Joseph Sanyez. And he is a junior, I believe. Senior. No, he is a senior. 5'8". So he doesn't have a whole lot of size, but he does have 374 yards rushing. He does have 4 touchdowns as well. So he is in second place for touchdowns, for rushing. And then we have the receivers, and it looks like it's going to be Barry. Let's see, that's the senior Barry. That is going to be White Barry. And he has 356 yards. He also has 5 touchdowns receiving. So he's going to be one to watch, as well as looks like it's going to be, of course, that brother of his, the sophomore, Cale Walton, who has 323 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, and averages about 16.2 a game, or a catch, I should say, a catch. So overall, it is 14:05 on the ground. And for Raton, it is 11:73 in the air. And they seem to be moving the ball pretty well. But like I said, though, 7 interceptions. So that could be something that could cause problems for them. Raton's me in the black and gold. Looks like it'll be blue and yellow for Jal, their colors, as they have left the field, and Raton is still warming up. Speaking of Jal, let's get into their stars as we go to Zayden Lujan, the junior, who's had a little time throwing, just 49 yards, has had 2 interceptions. Well, it's going to be, let's see, Daniel Ornelas, who's going to be the junior quarterback, and he's had 13:09 in the passing, has thrown 13 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. And so he is just below 500 at 471 completion rating. And he gets about 145 yards a game, almost 146. Speaking of running, well, I haven't yet, but I will now. So let's get into running. The rushing is all about, looks like Rodriguez. And he is a senior, and that is Andre Rodriguez. Getting about 5 touchdowns, 1 with a game over 100 yards. Gets about 55.8 in average. Also have, I believe that is the quarterback, Daniel Ornelas. Also runs as well, so we have 2 running quarterbacks here, as he has had 540 yards and has made 5 touchdowns. So him and Rodriguez are tied at 5, and I'm sure they want to see who can get that tiebreaker to 6 as well. Meanwhile, it's going to be for receiving. Rodriguez is the one of the main runners, or main receivers. 221 yards, 1 touchdown off of 24 receptions. Well, it's also going to be, let's see, Ororo, and that is Sebastian. So Sebastian has 278 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's, of course, in the air. And we have for the Jals, of course, Coach Brent Satterwhite. And for Raton, it is Tori Gascomo. So we have the lineups right there. We also have teams still warming up. It should be, let's see, another 10 minutes. And we will get started, of course, with the kickoff. I'd like to thank our sponsors for this game, without which we would not be able to present it to you, especially for free. I'm going to give you IPS, Lasco Construction, State Farm Insurance. Of course, that is Mike Gurin. Thank you, Mike. Lavelle Insurance, Eunice Pump and Supply, Panther Energy, Iron Horse Sports Grill, along with Mamacitas, Jal Schools, Woolworth Community Library, NMJC, XL Energy. Thank you very much, every single one of you, for supporting us and being able to get this on the air for you once again live and for free on Jal Sports. Be back in just a moment with more coverage right here on the Jal Sports, whether you're on YouTube or on HobbsAmerica.com.